Isn't it necessary, Chris, for a front man to have a certain look? Because when I watch one of my favorite videos to watch, when you're up there with Page and the Black Crowes, and you guys all toured together,
right?
And you were singing Led Zeppelin, that is my favorite concert to watch. Did it ever cross your mind when you were working with Robert Plant? I mean, when you were working with Jimmy Page?
I worked with Robert too when I was a kid.
Is that right?
In the first, it's funny when you talk about front man like that. In my case, I would have probably been a front boy at this time. But I opened for Steven Tyler and Robert Plant in the first 5 months of us ever being a band.
Before Black Crowes, when you were
we were the Black Crowes. But in 1990, like the first big tours we did were opening for Aerosmith and Robert Plant.
No kidding.
And I was like, had to be thrust out there with these like famous, like iconic.
You must have been out of your mind with like Glee working around those guys. Would they hang with you at all, or were you just kind of like it was
I guess the Aerosmith thing was really. I mean, Steven Tyler gave me my first harmonica.
No kidding.
And taught me a little how to blow a little bit.
Have you ever met somebody you worshipped and then you suddenly go, "What the fuck?"
No, because I don't ever expect, because who cares? Who cares what I am or what I do? I'm just another guy who's. But I'll tell you the best. You want to know the best story?
Yeah.
Warren Haynes. This is 1990. First Black Crowes were in New York. The Allman Brothers are doing Unplugged.
Right.
The Black Crowes had been on earlier that day. The guy from the show goes, "Hey, you guys are from Georgia. You want to come see the Allman Brothers?" I was like, "Yeah, are you fucking kidding?"
Fucking Allman
So
Brothers.
we go down there. It's me and my brother.
Rich.
And we sit there. We're standing there, and Warren Haynes comes over, and I've never met Warren, and he's like, "Hey, are you the two brothers from the Black Crowes?" And we were like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wow, I'm Warren." And we meet, and he's like, "I really like your record." And, he's from North Carolina, so blah, blah, blah. As we're talking, there's like a little room, and Gregg Allman's in there like combing his hair for like 8 hours and blow drying it.
Right.
He got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus. So inevitably he gets up, and there's a small hallway, and he has to walk through the hallway to the other room, and we're standing there.
Yeah.
And as he walks past us, Warren goes, Greg, this is the Black Crowes, the two brothers from Georgia I told you about. And he looks at me in the corner and he goes, "Who gives a shit?" And he walked past us.
You probably liked that.
I loved it. Well,
It
I mean, if he'd stopped and said, "Hey, great to me," I wouldn't have a cool story. But
it would have been funny too, because think about it. I mean,
It was
he and his
amazing.
brother in a band, and the whole thing. It was a similar kind of situation.
And they're from Florida, but they kind of came together in Georgia. So, but yeah, he said, "Who gives a shit?" And what's funny? 27 years later, who does? I mean, really?
Isn't that great when a guy just goes, "Who gives a shit?"
It was great.
Fuck off. It's just so great.
But then the other stuff happened in life, like, the wondrous Joe Cocker. The first time I met Joe was right around that same time, and we were at the hotel lobby in Los Angeles, and he's one of my heroes, and there he is, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Joe Cocker." And he stands up in the bar, and he goes, "Chris." And I'm looking around, is Chris Christopherson here, or someone famous? I don't know. He's like, "Come here." And I go over, and he goes, "Oh, my lad." And he gives me a big hug, and he goes, "Thank you. Thanks for keeping this music alive, and thanks for all the things you've said about my band and my music."
Wow.
And Ronnie Lane, the great Ronnie Lane from The Faces, who had MS late in his life, our very first shitty rock club gig opening for some band in Austin in 1990, and the guy from the club, we didn't even have a dressing room. We were like by the soda cans and all the beer stuff. And this guy says, "There's a guy in a wheelchair out here named Ronnie Lane who wants to see you." And he came in, and he was like, "Oh, I just want to meet you lot. You've said so much nice things about my music, and I want to see a real rock band again,
Those are the moments that
and
you
I was
cherish.
like, "Yeah, I'll remember that forever." The great Ronnie Lane, the most soul, the great Ronnie Lane.
That was a great band.
Oh, the best.
Right?
So there's, those moments are also the stuff. And, I mean, people always, you're on the cover of Rolling Stone. I'm like, I walked backstage in 1999 to see Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and every one of them said hello to me and knew my name, and I almost shit my pants.